Hello and welcome to my talk on Entrepreneur Action. My name is Maximilian Collett and I'm here today to talk about what I've learnt while studying this module within lectures, what I've learnt while on the study tour, and what I've learnt when I've been networking within the RAU. Notably learning about how entrepreneurs came about, how they succeeded, and what makes them particularly unique and successful. This is where I start, and I want to start the story of this within Berlin on the study tour. The first business I met was a company called Yoga and Salt, and these companies specifically stood out to me. They're based in Berlin in a growth hub and market called Bikini Berlin. This is a very popular tourist area for startup businesses to grow and develop their products within Berlin. And they developed and started off as a small shop and have grown into a large premise within Bikini Berlin. And them as a business are currently within the survival stage of the entrepreneurship module. They, however, are developing their business and they're looking to now grow and further develop their company from just one shop to multiple shops. But the key trait from starting out as an entrepreneur I learned and spoke about when meeting the owner was ensuring the environment is an enabler. Bikini Berlin, a prime example, allowing them to start in a very small environment and be able to develop and grow. From here, they've been able to start very small. They've started a small shop and have moved premises within the same environment. This has allowed for huge amounts of flexibility, and they built their model around having flexible sourcing. So if it means having one product from one supplier or one product from another, this has been ability, while setting targets from a small shop to a large shop to developing out a salt yoga space to have dual streams of revenue. They've set their targets, they've stuck to them, and they've grown, with this growing further out to having multiple shops on a nationwide level. Moving on and moving closer to home, speaking about an entrepreneur who has been here and studying at RAU, Harry Beard. He co-founded a company called Future Labs with Adam Flanagan, and their business they've set up is all about Generation Z consultancy. Harry in particular set up his company and set up his experience from social media management on coming second in the EY Young Entrepreneurship competition when pitching this. This has developed into learning about the niche of Generation Z and developing out his own business for Generation Z Consultancy, which is creating headlines in national press and creating lots of market disruption. He notably, when speaking to Harry about his experience as an entrepreneur and his experience and what he takes away and uses specifically to be a successful, growing young entrepreneur, notably, he embeds himself with youth culture and he speaks with young people who are disrupting industries. This is very, very specific because his business is all about marketing from the ages of 10-year-olds to 23-year-olds and building out this generational based marketing. From here, he is regularly collaborating with other people of influence, other thought leaders within the market, and learning how they're doing very well and taking the traits which they've learned and applying them to himself. And this is also applied by working with and talking to people who are much older in the industry and much more experienced, taking all these 4 traits, using them within his very small and very startup business culture and using it to grow from his existence phase within the entrepreneurship model and develop out further. From here, we go back to Berlin and we speak about a shop known as Surplus. Surplus Berlin is a shop all about using surplus food and leftover food which hasn't been sold by market traders or corporate nationals with stock issues, such as developing Coca-Cola with 2 grams less sugar in, and using that and buying these products and using them to sell at a slightly and heavily discounted rate. This has allowed for socio and economic advantages as they're currently in the adaptation phase of the entrepreneurship model. Surplus as a business starts off and ensures that all food standards are kept. Even if they are out of date, they are still perfectly safe to eat and tasty. They've developed their business model, and the traits they've applied is this: sourcing from savvy suppliers and using leftover food, being able to buy at a discounted rate and at a bulk rate. However, this has allowed them to also develop what could be a hindrance, but actually a trait for their eyes: keeping stock varied and new. This has allowed for businesses to develop and grow and allowed them to gain more exposure and more understanding for the type of people who are buying their goods and using their shop. From here, they've also recruited like-minded people and understand that if you bring in people who are of a similar ilk and a similar nature, they will believe in the same goal and will help create Surplus as a successful business and help them continue on as a disruptor within the market. Moving on from here, the fourth business I want to be speaking about, and this is referring back to my first essay I wrote for this module, is Joshua Baldwin, who runs a business known as Kent Vac Limited. He's very much in a niche business and he's very much in the startup phase of the entrepreneurship model. Himself is developing a business which is all about VW car modifications for enthusiasts. So if this be changing displays or changing arches or changing bodywork or tech inside, it's a huge niche. There's only 2 other competitors within the market and there's a network of over 20,000 people. When speaking to Joshua and learning about his business and how it develops and how it targets, he has spent a lot of time picking a profitable niche, picking a niche which isn't hugely competitive and there's a lot of room for growth. From here, he works with like-minded people, collaborating and working once again with other people within the market to create himself a unique pretense and a unique space. From here, he has planning his goals and networking for other areas of growth and for growing out his business. His key targets have been from a startup phase to growing out an online website and growing out a commerce store, and then his next goals are to develop it out into a full-size shop and into an actual full online retailer and turning it from just a side job into a full-time position. And you can see very much the traits exhibited at the startup nature, and this is once again enabled by working with like-minded people. From here, he has developed this and has grown his business out. Notably speaking, when I look at these and I reflect back on myself as a budding young entrepreneur, I have learned, and these are the 3 traits I want to take away of myself. It is networking with like-minded people, targeted audience, and prepare people and work with people and prepare myself for working with people with greater experience. If I can take what I've learned from these 4 entrepreneurs and apply it, furthering this, looking at finding a profitable niche and targeting it very broadly and not going at an attitude where you target absolutely everyone and hope people buy. Picking a niche, targeting it and becoming successful in it is key. And thirdly, setting targets and end goals and working very hard to ensure these goals, making sure they are smart, they are measurable, accurate, relatable and timely. Using all these 3 traits, I feel reflect to myself are the key traits I want to apply to myself as an entrepreneur and take the successes of 4 other entrepreneurs and apply them to my own startups and my own business I want to be growing. From here, I would like to summarise and start looking at how this module has worked from when I've worked through the studies, through the essay writing and through the surveys, learning exactly what makes myself as an entrepreneur and successful entrepreneurs different, and learning what I need to summarise for myself and reflect back on and learn to develop. Here I've been looking at the reflection sides particularly, and now moving on to the summarising part of this. The key traits I've learned and developed and know I need to grow on are the key parts to grow with are financial planning and analysis. I know with myself what I haven't done and what I want to grow and learn more about is financially planning and analysing the figures in a way where I can create a strategic path forward. This moves into strategic business planning, not just from a creative side, but also from a very economical aspect, and learning to create a profitable business model which works in a manner for myself which will create a business which is successful and myself as a successful entrepreneur. From here, working on personal growth of my competence. This is a key trait which is highlighted in the NASCAR Entrepreneur survey, and this is a part I'd like to develop and grow myself. And from here, utilising others' experience and learning as much as I can from other parties of importance and of relevance, and using that as a key strategy for my own growth. Along with the positive sides I've realised and I've learned as an entrepreneur myself from setting up my own business and growing it. The key traits which I know I've appealed and I know have worked is business planning, network generation, creativity and design, and my internal locus of control scored very highly. Taking these 4 traits and learning how to create the next stages and create this as a more profitable factor for myself, if it be from business planning and applying that to FP&A analysis. And from here, I'd like to thank you very much for my presentation, and here are my references and bibliography. Thank you very much, take care.